So it is worth noting that when you go back to one of these vehicles, you can actually choose to refight the boss battles. There isn't really anything to gain from it, but you do have the option to refight bosses, like you do in Spyro 2, so that's something. But now, Zoe is near the spark sign, so why don't we talk to her and see what she has to say?
Spyro, I found an egg, but only Sparks will be able to reach it. There's a small hole that leads to a crawdad farm. I can take him there if he's ready.
So this is Sparks' unique gameplay. I guess you could call him the fifth animal buddy. Difference is, Sparks has been with us since the first game, and now he gets his time to shine. He kind of got that in the Speedways, but now you get to play as him directly. Isn't that cool? His gameplay is kind of an arcade top-down shooter kind of gameplay, and when this level starts, there's going to be a tutorial that I'm going to jump cut past, and just jump straight past the level, okay? I will see you when the level actually properly starts. Alright, so welcome to Crawdad Farms proper. This is the first of 4 Sparks levels here in Year of the Dragon. And like I said, it's kind of a classic top-down arcade shooter kind of gameplay. You can use the left stick to move. Unfortunately, there's no twin stick setup for this, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. It still has a pretty decent control scheme, honestly. You have access to a lot of different power-ups, too, which reminds me a lot of stuff like Gradius and other shooters like that, as I recall, I think. I haven't played too many of those, but I know they usually have power-ups and whatnot, so yeah. At any rate, though, I'm showing this off just so we can see Sparks' gameplay in the Let's Play. However, for the other 3 levels, I'm not going to be showing them on screen. I'm just going to be doing them while I do the backtracking, as it were. I do want to mention that we're not going to have time to do Molten Crater with Sergeant Bird in this episode, but I will be doing that on screen in a later part. I do want to mention that since we're technically back in Sunrise Spring. If you're playing along, by all means, go ahead and do the backtracking yourself, but I'm just omitting it because it takes a little while, and the episode, honestly, has been going on for a little while already, but I just happened to notice I had just enough time to show this off, which I'm glad, because I don't know where else I would have been able to show this off. But we're going to show off Crawdad Farm in its entirety, and this is the last time we'll be seeing the Sparks gameplay in the Let's Play, which is fine. I think you get the point after just seeing this one time, just like with the Speedway races, as it were. So this is what I mean by trimming the fat of this playthrough. Thankfully, I'm not really cutting out that much, so all you Year of the Dragon fans out there, you're still going to get everything worth showing off in this game, and that's fine. That's really good. I mean, you still have to do everything on your own in order to access the final secret level here in Year of the Dragon. I do want to remind you all of that. Also, if you're trying to find gems in these Sparks levels, you'll be remiss to know that Sparks doesn't have a Sparks of his own. Which means if you try to do the treasure tracker, it's not going to work. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say. Could you imagine, though? Like, if it could work, that would be weird, but it sure would be helpful. It sure would be helpful, alright? But Crawdad Farm is the simplest Sparks level, so finding all the gems shouldn't be too difficult. But, you know, just keep an eye out. Since you're top down all the time, you should notice the gems, but sometimes you will have to search a corner or something like that. That can be kind of annoying. But the last gem should be here, and welcome to the boss fight of Crawdad Farm. It's a giant crawdad. Big shocker. But yeah, that's the pattern that every Sparks level has, a unique boss fight. I find that the best power-up for this boss is to use the spread shot and just spam the fire button. Because it won't spread around all that much, but you'll shoot a lot of projectiles straight ahead of you, and it really makes mincemeat out of the boss, honestly. Keep that strategy in mind for the other bosses that Sparks is going to deal with. Alright, so let's head back to the homeworld to see what Zoe has to say about our little success story here.
Nice work, Sparks. You've beaten the Crawdad King and found the lost egg. Not only that, but some of the dragon magic seems to have rubbed off on you. Now you can pick up gems when they're even further away from Spyro.
Alright, so when you clear a Sparks level, in the original Year of the Dragon, every time you clear a Sparks level, you got a new ability or feature that involves Sparks. You do the Crawdad farm, and Sparks can get gems that are further away from you than before, which is very helpful, so I do recommend getting that as soon as you can, which I guess would be after you rescue Sergeant Bird, so if you were playing along, sometime during the last episode, I guess you could have done it, but I had to do Enchanted Towers, and that was like more than half of the episode. So, you know. Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Play Spyro Reignited Trilogy. In this part, we're continuing on with Midday Gardens for the third episode in a row. But don't worry, we're going to be finishing it off quite well, because we're going to be doing the last regular level right here, Spooky Swamp. And yes, it is technically a swamp level, so I wouldn't be doing my due diligence if I didn't bring up the fact of, get out of me, swamp! But we're gonna get that out of the way and then talk to this guy.
That guitar was mean. I thought I was a goner. Thanks for saving me.
So, all of the NPCs in this level, and I do mean every NPC, including ones you may be familiar with, all speak in haiku poems. I was considering doing this for the entire this entire segment of the episode, but that would be very difficult to do. I do remember learning about haiku poems a long time ago. I couldn't tell you exactly if it was elementary or middle school, but I do remember. Basically, you have like 3 lines of dialogue, right? The top one has to have like 5 words, and then 7, and then 5. I believe you can do an equivalent of like 3-5-3. I hear that's a lot harder to do though. And hell, a lot of people, just from normal talking and dialogue, probably are speaking haikus without even trying. But there is a certain inflection when you're trying to speak haiku rather than just trying to write haiku. And that right there, my man or lady or whoever's watching this, that's deep, let me tell you. I like this level. I do. But at the same time, it can be a little on the boring side. Just a tad. It goes on for a little while. I mean, there's only like 2 sub-areas here, but the main area takes a minute. The main goal is that we have to light up all the candles. Actually, it seems like the main goal, but in actuality it is the side goal. We also have another one of these key treasure chests. So that's something. Plenty of gems. There's also a skill point that you need to get here by flaming all of the piranha warning signs. It seems like a counterintuitive skill point, because if you go in the water here at any point, you will be attacked by piranhas. So you would think it would be to the benefit of other people in this habitat to have the piranha warning signs. But no, if you flame and destroy them all, you get a lovely skill point for your trouble. Isn't that just wonderful? And some of these piranha signs can be a little tricky to find, I won't lie. These gators are something else. Honestly, the first half of Spooky Swamp is kind of eh. The second half will pick up a little bit, so I think I'm gonna pull out one of those subjects I've been wanting to talk about with the Reignited Trilogy specifically. So, when the Reignited Trilogy originally released, it launched on the PS4 and the Xbox One. I mean, PlayStation system is obvious considering the history of Spyro, but the point is, when they originally released the physical print of the PS4 and Xbox One version, they didn't put the entire 3 games in the disc. So what happened is that the first game, Spyro 1 Reignited, is on the disc, fully intact, but Spyro 2 and Spyro 3 Reignited, Spyro 3 Reignited I'd argue is the best in terms of being a remake. You have to download the data for them off the internet, which is something that Activision pushed because they really wanted the game out for the holidays. Speaking of greedy corporations...
This door is jammed shut. Only the power of gems can hope to move it.
Pay 500 gems to open the door and shut Moneybags up, or say no, your haiku poetry stinks. I think I know which answer I'm picking.
That gummit dragon. Just cough up those stinking gems, and I can go home.
Hope you enjoyed that little extra bit of delicious, did I mean delicious, Moneybag dialogue. Oh, man. I just can't resist, alright? Alright, sorry to skip that last bit of dialogue, but I think that one that I got by skipping is well worth it, alright? So, at any rate, yeah, Moneybags is back. He costs 500 gems. That's how many gems you're gonna get from this level. Are you seeing a pattern here? Good thing we had a country speedway to kind of fill in the gaps a little bit, even though it's only plus 400, because it is technically a speedway. Ah, 'tis unfortunate. But what can one do but continue paying into greedy corporations for the things that we love oh so much? But, yeah, the thing about that Reignited Trilogy thing is that, yeah, buying the physical disc at launch, you would have really gimped yourself, because one reason that people like buying a physical copy of a game is so that they don't have to download it with their internet connection. And, yeah, here in the United States where I live, internet connections tend to be pretty good, but sometimes we also deal with a little something called a data cap, which means you're limited in how much data you can download. By the way, I'm going to have to jump cut back to the top of that tree. These glides are pretty annoying. So as I was saying, the reason that people buy physical games, or physical media in general, is so that they don't have to use up their data caps, in the case of some of us here in the United States. But, you know, you gotta deal with that if you have to download a game digitally. And I mean, yeah, there are advantages to a digital copy of the game as well. Oh, for the love of God, with that freaking gem. BRB, guys. It's because, yeah, it's kind of annoying to deal with the data caps and all that stuff, you know? So, it kind of defeats the purpose of buying a physical copy of Spyro Reignited Trilogy at launch if you were still going to have to download most of the software on the disc anyway. Or the package, I should say. By the way, we're done with the main objective, so let's talk to this guy.
You are brave, dragon. Much braver than I by far. Here, take this darn egg.
Man, I'd really like to pull out a haiku poem out of nowhere. Like I said, it's kind of hard to come up with one on the spot. This is the kind of thing I'd probably do better if I tried to write it down. So, over here to the left, we're going to have our two sub-areas of Spooky Swamp. Also, you get a skill point if you manage to get all the piranha signs. It's not that hard to do. But we have a swirly over here that can take us back to that specific area when it's relevant. For now, though, we need to go through the level for a little bit and get back to that treasure chest and unlock it with the key. Because I'm afraid that if I go into a sub-area and come back, the key is going to despawn. I mean, it happened in Spyro 1, but I think technically it was because I got entered a whole nother level, possibly. But still, better safe than sorry. So we're going to open up this treasure chest right here, and I think I'm going to have to do a jump cut, because this is actually pretty far away even from the swirly. So I will see you guys back at the sub-area portals. Alright, now let's talk to this guy.
The tea lamps are lit. Now I'll tell you the secret of what's in this house. A creepy wizard lives inside but hates the light. He has awoken. He swore to destroy whoever lights the tea lamps. That they're using me.
So we got us a mini boss fight. Think of the Ox from Metropolis in Spyro 2. This guy is a little more interesting, though. We've got a wizard Rhinoc of some sort. So anyway, the idea is he'll throw a bomb, wait for the bomb to settle, you know, watch for the countdown, and charge the bombs back at him, and eventually you'll knock him out. I think he's about 5 hits. Oh, he'll also spawn gator minions. You can easily take him out with a flame. Well, for the most part. But yeah, those gators that he spawns won't give you gems, thankfully, so yeah, there's no chance of a missable gem situation. Actually, it looks like he's only 4 hits. A little bit easier than I would think, but Yeah, he really goes hard on spawning the gators, man. But he pretty much just sticks to the same pattern. Throws a bomb, spawns gators, throws a bomb, spawn gators. You can only hit him after he, throws the bomb. It's the same pattern. So I guess it's good that he's only 4 hits. If he was 5 hits, this fight would be way too repetitive, I'm telling you. I like how he's yawning there. Alright. Ah, man. I seriously missed the bomb. Yeah, if you miss a bomb, you gotta do the phase all over again. Yeah, you gotta aim the bomb very specific, but I don't want to touch it before the countdown pops up, because I think it'll explode on the spot if you do it too soon. Alright, we blew his head up, so we're all done with that. That isn't the hardest sub-area in Spooky Swamp, though. We've got a section with Sheila! I know, we haven't seen her in a minute, so, yeah, that part of it is nice, so... I'll save my grievances for when we get to the actual annoying part of Sheila's section in Spooky Swamp.
This swamp smells so sweet. The springtime trees are fragrant. I'm off to kick butt.
Probably the best haiku dialogue in Spooky Swamp right there. Sheila drops it like it's hot, man, I'm telling you. So, there is a spot that drove me nuts when I was a kid. There's like one of these gated areas somewhere around here, and right behind it is a pink burgundy gem. Actually, it's right freaking there. That drove me crazy first time I played this game, man. And I thought it might have been a glitch. I remember looking all over the internet and strategy guides trying to figure out how to get to that gem. And man, when I finally figured out how to get that gem, it blew my mind. What can I say? I was 9 years old when I first played this game. It was pretty easy to blow my mind back then. So the mission, you have to talk to those Firefly guys, but we're going to clear the area of gems first because, yeah, that's kind of the recommended thing to do. Because you don't want to have to worry about getting the gems and doing their mission. I speak from experience in that regard. Well, not really, because in the original, when you did their missions, they did like a top-down camera angle for some bizarre reason. And I think they reverted it in Reignited Trilogy, just like a lot of the other missions. Like the ice hockey figure skating thing back in Icy Peak. That originally had a top-down camera view, but they changed it to a regular one for some reason. And I'm not sure why, because in some cases the missions are harder because of it, and in some cases they are easier because of it. The turtle soup thing in Spyro 2, probably a good example of it being easier because of the camera angle. Then again, they probably just nerfed the actual mission for all I know. But thankfully, I think if you've gotten all the gems up until now, these will be the last gems to collect in Spooky Swamp. Also, regarding those boulders I've been destroying, in the original, the boulders would keep regenerating, because they're an obstacle when dealing with the Firefly guys. But in Reignited, thankfully, the rocks won't respawn because, well, that never made sense. The mushrooms will regrow. Oh, by the way, this is how you get that gem. Bada bing, bada boom. You just gotta smash that wall. Because it's so obvious, right? You just kick a rock wall. You kick a rock wall, and it'll get knocked down, of course. But to take care of these mushrooms, you gotta pound them with a ground pound. It's rather simple for the most part, but oh man. Having the time to ground pound so that they don't jump back, grow back into position, right as the Firefly guy goes over it, is pretty dang annoying, dude. I'm not gonna lie. So there's supposed to be a gem back here somewhere? Where is it? Like, where the heck is this gem? Come on, Sparks. Show me. I don't want to do the mission yet. God. Sorry, just passing through. Sorry, guy. Is it this wall? No. Okay, this is the wall. Alright. Wait, that's a 2 gem, though. That ain't all the gems, is it? Is it? Hey, hold on a second here. Well, it looks like this is a first for me, but I think I just fell for the glitch where a gem is somehow despawned from the level, And I'm probably going to have to get this gem off screen because I just went back to the main area of Spooky Swamp and Sparks couldn't find a gem there either. So, why don't we just go ahead and knock out the Firefly guy missions and I'll take care of that off screen. Don't you guys worry.
We have the bombs here. We must destroy the egg cage. But we just go boom. Kangaroo can help. You can clear the path for us. Will Sheila help us?
Yes, it's bombing time. Here I come, my little eggs, to free you at last.
Alright, so what you're going to want to do, each Firefly guy takes a different path. Now, you're going to want to ground pound mushrooms. Since you don't have to deal with the regenerating rocks like in the original, that alleviates some of the tension, but not all of it. Especially if you start doing the super jump by accident because of the way Sheila's gameplay works. It's not really Sheila's fault, you know? It's the fact that these mushrooms, you ground pound them and they're just going to regrow. As you see, they'll start to shake and they will regrow. And with this mushroom, for this Firefly guy's path, you just gotta ground pound that particular mushroom twice. Alright, that mushroom is down, and this mushroom, you should be golden. Thank God, dude. You don't want to know how many times that took. No, you really don't want to know. Oh, Peggy here. Man, I think of King of the Hill now.
One egg cage remains. Will you now help my buzzer to freeze the last egg?
If you clear my path, I can blow up the egg cage. Poor captive eggs. Yes, it's bombing time. Here.
Alright, so the other Firefly guy is going to take a different path. Apparently that mushroom there was just completely ignored. Okay. I mean, you could try to stay in front of the Firefly guy, but I find that can be kind of a crapshoot because they kind of hop pretty fast, alright? So, what's he going to do? Is he going to go through the mushroom? No, he's not. Okay, I think this is the one that loops all the way around. And normally, this guy would run into a boulder that regenerates. But it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. Thankfully. So he's going to go through the middle mushroom. I hope. Oh God. Come on. Wow, first try for that one. The other one took me like... No kidding, I think the other one took me like 6 tries, guys. I hope I remember to edit all that out. Oh, Michelle, huh? Interesting name, that.
The eggs are all free. 2 dragons are born today. Sheila's my hero.
How poetic. Oh, and look at that egg number. That's nice. You know what's not nice? Having an incomplete gem count because the gem freaking despawned. Look at this. Look at this. I am doing the treasure finder. Sparks cannot find the gem.
Follow me, Spyro. The whirling gig awaits you. The sky shall be yours.
Okay, so I went back to Spooky Swamp, right? And thankfully the gem wasn't permanently lost or anything. It was in one of the first enemies in the level, and it just didn't spawn. The gem didn't spawn, I guess, the first time. I don't know. That is a glitch that can happen in any of these Reignite Trilogy games, but it's very rare. Of course it would happen in a Let's Play, though. It's consistent so far. Like, something weird happened in Spyro 1 with the Dr. Shemp level, right? Where that shaman enemy just started flying in midair. And then in Spyro 2, I managed to get 2 of the cowlicks on top of one another like a totem, right? So now we got the gem thing here in Spyro 3, and, well, hopefully that's the last time that happens. It really wasn't a big deal, but still. Anyways, before we move on to the boss fight, I'm going to do what I did before and talk to our animal buddy friend at least.
All systems checked out A-OK. Jump aboard.
Alright, all systems checked A-OK and ready for that. Man, I really do like... I will say this much. Even if I'm not a huge fan of the gameplay of some of these characters, I think every single one of them has a really shiny and sparkly personality. The next animal friend we're going to rescue, actually later on in this episode, hopefully, if time restraints otherwise, but yeah, just wait and see. All of these characters are real characters, even if the gameplay may not always be to your liking.
You bumbling, idiotic, worthless fool! I asked you to carry out one simple task and you fail me. I should have known better than to rely on a child. But don't worry about it. I'll deal with them now.
These eggs can't be worth all this trouble.
Without the dragons, the magic in this world will wither away. Without magic, I'll die. And so will your ever-slim chance of becoming a sorceress. Now, watch how a real sorceress dispatches her enemies.
Release me from this cage, you merciless miscreants!
How would you like some dragon for lunch?
Why, if I had my club, you'd all be in for...
So now the sorceress is going to send a monster against us. Alright, maybe they'll put up more of a fight than Buzz.
My tactical instincts told me the sorceress would attack you here, so I flew in to help out. It seems my rocket launchers don't affect this creature, but I can assist you by dropping ammunition. Now get in there and fight the good fight.
That dialogue there is my favorite line of dialogue spoken by Sergeant Byrd. So welcome to the second boss in Year of the Dragon, and honestly, thinking back, I think Spike was one of my favorite fights in Year of the Dragon, even in the original game. But, remember what I was talking about with the automatic challenge tuning in the races of the speedways? And how here in Reignited they did away with that and just went with the hardest versions of the races? And how I mentioned that some challenges didn't get the hardest version, they actually got, like, the easy version? Spike was one of those that got nerfed. So this is actually the easy form of Spike, which actually isn't that easy, honestly. I'd still say he's one of the harder bosses in Year of the Dragon. In the original, though, he was hands down either the hardest or the second hardest, depending on how you handled the final boss, which, if you've been paying attention to the story, you probably know who the final boss is, so I won't really mention it out of redundancy. Actually, we're almost done with this fight. It's kind of crazy. If this was the original Year of the Dragon... Oh, he's going to have a chance to use attack. Okay. This is cool. His attacks are really cool. And hell, he actually got a hit in on me. Well, other than that slap he did earlier, but... Oh, dang! Oh boy, that was a close one. Oh, I guess nerfing him to easy really doesn't make him a joke. I could have sworn he was a joke the last time I played Year of the Dragon Reignited, but no. That was actually a pretty competent challenge, a pretty good step up over Buzz, honestly. Had me on edge for a minute there towards the end, let me tell you. We're moving on to Evening Lake now. Alright, so welcome to Evening Lake, as we're entering it proper thanks to the whirligig. I believe Bianca should be showing up in 3, 2, 1, bam.
Listen to me, Dragon. Spyro, this is serious now. The sorceress is planning a trap for you, and if she catches you, believe me, you don't want to know what she's going to do. Look, I promise to take good care of the rest of the eggs. I mean it. Just take Hunter and go back home before... I can't say it. Just go.
So now Bianca is getting really concerned for Spyro. Understandably so, because the sorceress seemed pretty unhinged in that cutscene. You know, I really didn't mean to do that, game, but we're gonna let it slide anyway. So, while we're here in Evening Lake, now's the part of the Let's Play where I'm gonna start bringing up the Black Label Spyro 3 experience a lot more often, because now is when there are some serious changes and differences between the original release of Year of the Dragon on PS1 and currently the definitive version, minor glitches aside, that I'm playing here for you guys today. You know, in the Let's Play video and all that stuff. But, so Evening Lake, actually I'm gonna go quiet for a few seconds so you can hear the music. So you heard that music, right? Sounds like a completely original tune. It's actually a nice, calming melody. It fairly suits Evening Lake. And you know what? You know what? I fully agree with you. By the way, all of the level portals are underwater. Well, except for one, but you have to access it by going underwater anyway. That was the level portal of Fireworks Factory. This is Lost Fleet. Lost Fleet should be one of the first levels you do here in Evening Lake. You're probably wondering why. I'll explain that when it becomes more relevant. At any rate, though, yeah, the music for Evening Lake is great. But what if I told you that in the original Year of the Dragon, they just played the music for Sunrise Spring again? And I know what you're thinking, well, that song was pretty catchy, right? It suits Evening Lake kind of okay. By the way, yeah, you go in the whale and you get a dragon egg named Jonah. Nice, nice reference. And doing a handstand dance inside of a whale, that's even more of a chef's kiss, let me tell you. But, yeah, originally, the Evening Lake song didn't play. It was just the Sunrise Spring song again. I never really took issue with it when I first played the game, obviously, because, like I said, I felt like the song still fit the homeworld just fine, for the most part. But once I got my hands on a greatest hits copy of Year of the Dragon, yeah, man, I can't go back, because this song is so chill, man. It is so great, so refreshing. It's a shame, really. And this won't be the last time I bring that up, because, heck, some of the levels in this homeworld and the next one have almost completely different music after the fact. It's kind of insane when you really think about it. But, I mean, yeah, that's just how things were at some points. Because the original release of Year of the Dragon was rushed a little bit. Maybe not as much as Reignited Trilogy, but, I mean, at least Reignited Trilogy Year of the Dragon is a complete game this time around. I mean, yeah, there are some minor glitches. We observed one earlier in this episode, yes. We can't deny that, but the original release of Year of the Dragon wasn't perfect either. And it had that glitch with the speedways where you could be locked out of an egg and you would have to start your playthrough all over again. Like I thought I was going to have to do with that one gem that despawned. Let me tell you, I had to check my pulse after that happened. But that's besides the point. So, yeah, you know. In addition, you saw that cutscene before Spike, right? Really cool cutscene. Really sets the precedence for the rest of the story going forward. I agree. I think that's one of the best cutscenes in the game. But what if... I know what you're thinking, but hear me out. What if the cutscene didn't play before the boss fight? Imagine that experience. That, too, was a situation that happened in the Black Label printing of Year of the Dragon. And I know what you might be thinking. How did they make it so that a cutscene didn't play? I'm pretty sure that was a glitch that they weren't able to take care of because of the somewhat rushed deadline for Year of the Dragon. Which is interesting because they made Ripto's Rage in a year, so... I don't know why Year of the Dragon had to suffer all that weird stuff. It seemed like there may have been some minor disagreements with some of the employees in Insomniac at the time, too. Because, well, actually, that story I think I'll save for when we get to the next homeworld when it's more relevant. At any rate, we almost have everything here in Evening Lake. There is one more dragon egg. I'm trying to remember where it is. I think it's over there. We're going to have to go back to the top of the tower. By the way, I didn't get a chance to say it because I was letting you guys listen to the music. There's the third Sparks level. This is the one that'll give you the extra hit point if you do it. But, as I said, I'm not doing any more on screen. So glide on over here and get this dragon egg, and oh my god, it's Hannah Montana! Just kidding. Alright, that takes care of all the dragon eggs for Evening Lake. A nice even 75. I think that's roughly half of the dragon eggs in total. That's pretty nice. Okay, I think we're gonna have to go up here for the rest of the gems. And maybe not. Alright, we got a couple more bases over here. Okay, we're gonna have to go back down. We're gonna come back to this area in a minute. Don't worry. We just gotta find the other gems. Let's see. Oh, I think I know where they are. Yep, over here. Alright, so I shut off the level portal for Fireworks Factory and Lost Fleet. This is the level portal for Honey Speedway. You may also want to do that one fairly early on as well, before you complete 3 out of 5 levels here in Evening Lake. Here's Charmed Ridge, an interesting level that's also a little bit on the long side. So, I don't think it's as bad as Enchanted Towers, but just keep that in mind. And, alright, we gotta find one more purple gem. I believe it should be up here somewhere. There we go! Thank God we didn't have to deal with no gem shenanigans that time. Last but not least, this is the level portal for Frozen Altars. I recommend doing that level, probably either the first or like the 4th. It's kind of weird, but anyway, let's move on because we're not going to end the part yet. Because we got to rescue our animal buddy who we saw in the Spike's Arena, or the Spike cutscene. And we also have to deal with money bags. And let me tell ya, this isn't going to be cheap.
The sorceress has a real prize on her hands here. It took 24 Rhinox to capture this dim-witted furball, so you better believe he's not going to get out cheap.
1,000 gems, the same cost that it costed Spyro to learn the head bash in Spyro 2. That said, I don't think this is a bad price because Bentley's got quite the intellect, unlike what Moneybags would try to have you believe. And if this isn't the funniest cutscene with an animal buddy coming up, the next animal buddy we rescue might just top it. I'll let you guys determine that.
Where are you getting all this money, Spyro? It's not just lying around on the ground, is it? Is it? Ah, what do I care? It's mine now.
The first rejuvenating breath of freedom. With the humility of a wounded sparrow, I genuflect to my noble deliverer.
It was no big deal, dude.
Yes. After all, it was I who let you out.
Why, you brazenly avaricious, duplicitous, larcenous ursine.
Now hold on.
One more, perhaps?
At least.
Please do afford me the sublime honor of enjoying your visitation in the nearest future.
Yeah, sure.
I will gladly help you on your quest, Spyro. But first, I must attend to my young sibling. I'm afraid he may have gotten himself into trouble during my absence.
Hey, bro, it'd be really cool if you smashed that boulder. A swift smack should do the trick.
Alright, so welcome to Bentley's Outpost. Now, Bentley's a big dude, right? So, a big dude, he has a overhead camera angle, which he did not have in the original Year of the Dragon. He had the same camera angle as Spyro and all the other characters, you know. So, the overhead camera angle, I think it's okay. I don't think it really hampers anything. My only real gripes with Bentley, honestly, is that he's a little slow. But it doesn't really make me angry, because I understand why a character like Bentley would be on the slower side. But, you know, I'm just used to the slightly more faster-paced gameplay of Spyro, and really the other characters to an extent. Maybe not so much Sergeant Bird, because, you know, you have to take your time when he's flying in the air and all that. Wait. Hold up. Hold up. I didn't want another glitch to happen, dang it! Well, you know what? I'm gonna crush you back in the ground. We're not gonna have glitches in this Let's Play anymore. Are we clear on that? Alright. So there's a metal chest over here, and I could swear on the original that I could jump and club it. I can't seem to do it and reignite it. Believe me, I'm trying my darndest. Well, I guess there's no way to go but forward.
If you use your spin move to deflect the snowball into the gong, I bet we can make the roof cave in.
I gotta say, I really like the voice acting for Bartholomew, man. It's hilarious. I really like the accent, honestly. The accent seals the deal, as it were. Actually, I think the guy that does the voice for Bartholomew also does the voice for the next animal friend we're gonna rescue. Why don't you keep that in mind? Oh, and there is a skill point you gotta look out for here in Bentley's Outpost. It's either gonna be the most obvious or the least obvious, depending on how you look at it. But yeah, Bentley's moveset comprises of spinning your club to deflect projectiles, which I think you only ever have to do in this level, sadly enough. It's kind of a fun gameplay element, actually. We're gonna get those seals, I'm telling you. And you push the flame button to use your club. And the charge button does the spin around. Okay, wait a minute. Hold up. Hold up. Let's get back in position here. I don't want to let this seal outsmart me. That would be insulting, not just to me, but to Bentley as well. Yeah, Bentley the Yeti. Funnily enough, there actually is a character in Sly Cooper that's also named Bentley, but I have to wonder if they did that as a reference to Spyro, because in terms of the intellect, they're probably on par with one another, but the physique, that I don't know about, bruh. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Bentley's Outpost it's a fine introductory level. Would you be remiss if I told you that this and only one other instance is the only time we'll be seeing Bentley's actual gameplay, since I'm not going to be doing the Bamboo Terrace backtracking on screen? I guess I could change my mind, but I don't think my manager would be very happy about that, see? So, yeah, Bentley kind of gets shafted a little bit. But you also get him relatively late in the game, so I guess it kind of makes sense. Keep that note in mind when we rescue the next animal friend.
Another gong, great. I bet we can cause an avalanche with this one.
Well, we wouldn't want to cause an avalanche, but I'm more than happy to spin snowballs into gongs all day, every day. I know you see the metal chest in the upper left. I have a strat for that. I also have a strat for this box. So see, you gotta push it out of the way. But what if I told you that by pushing it off the cliff, you get a skill point for that? I think this was one of the first skill points I got in Year of the Dragon, honestly. It just seemed like something fun to think about. I'm like, oh, I wonder if I can push this box off the cliff. And wouldn't you know it? Yeah, you can. It's a pretty cool skill point. You know, not all skill points have to be cryptic, thankfully. Could you imagine if every single skill point was difficult to figure out? Oh yeah, before I forget, since this is going to be the last level of this episode, the levels in Evening Lake will have 600 gems on average, again, excluding the homeworld and the speedway. So yeah, you'll be collecting a lot more gems in Evening Lake, especially coming from Sunrise Spring. But guess whose costs are going to go up too? Yeah, Moneybags is in tune with the economy. I mean, he kind of has to be, but that should be expected by now. Alright? You should expect, if it involves money, Moneybags will definitely be on top of it. Okay, we got a seal here, but, as long as you time it right, use the ice wall to literally protect yourself from the seal's snowball attack. Kind of crazy how that works out, actually. Alright, so we're gonna head back. I could jump cut, but again, this is only like 5-10 seconds. Come on, bro. I usually only jump cut if it takes more than half a minute to get somewhere. For those of you wondering if you ever see any other jump cut in any other Let's Play I've done, or even earlier in this Let's Play, matter of fact. So let's go ahead and push these boxes together. I think they have to be pretty specific for Bartholomew to want to actually jump on top of the boxes to get to the other side. I don't know, he seems kind of finicky about that sort of thing. I would just take anything I can get.
Thanks, bro. Here's a little something for your rock collection.
Every time I get this dragon egg, I'm reminded of my sibling. For some reason. Speaking of siblings, oh man, I didn't get a chance to club him. You can actually use the club on Bartholomew and squish him a little bit. I should have showed that off. Well, he does show up in the Bamboo Terrace backtracking. I'll remember to do that off screen. Definitely, it's very cathartic. I mean, I don't think Bartholomew is annoying, but I'm sure some people do. So hey guys, welcome back to Let's Play Spyro Reignited Trilogy. Last time, we finished off Midday Gardens, and we started off Evening Lake a little bit by rescuing our new animal friend Bentley, who we should be seeing later on in this episode. For now though, welcome to the Speedway of Evening Lake, Honey Speedway. Now I know what you might be thinking. Leslie, you're doing this Speedway level a little bit earlier than what you did for the other two homeworlds, huh? There is a reason for that. The reason of which I can't reveal right now because it would be a major story spoiler. At any rate though, we're going to do exactly the same thing that we did for Country Speedway, where I'm going to do the obstacle course, do the race off screen, and then we're going to come back to the obstacle course to do the Hunter mission. At any rate, the order that you need to do for Honeycomb Speedway, well you don't need to, but it's highly suggested, is beehives, bees, boats, wait, I think there might have been rings somewhere in there. At any rate, yeah, there's rings, honeycomb rings, I guess you could say. At any rate, this is not the fastest way, it is worth mentioning that, but it is the easiest way. Or I guess you could say, the beesiest way, as some might argue. Yeah, I'm really expecting people to spam B-movie puns in the comments just because this is a speedway that highly features bees. Shocking, I know, considering it's called Honey Speedway, but, well, I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, you go through the honeycomb rings, go through the honeycombs, ooh, almost missed that bee. You flame the bees, and then you come back around to the boats. When you get to the boats, though, like with the planes or the butterflies, you want to go against the boats, because that way they'll come to you rather than you chasing them. And I think if you try to chase them, this winds up being one of the more difficult speedways. I could be mistaken. Thankfully, it's a lot easier to go in the reverse direction in Honey Speedway compared to Country Speedway, and probably, well, not Mushroom Speedway. Country Speedway, yes. Be very careful though, because if you fall into the honey, it's the same as falling into water. You will instantly fail the speedway. But as you can see, I missed that one bow. Still beat it with like a 21-second grace period. That's the best grace period thus far in any of these speedways. It's really not that hard, guys. For defeating the time trial. Kind of a weird choice of words, but I mean, I get it. Alright, so for the race of Honey Speedway, you gotta race bees. You know, basically the same bees that you were flaming in the obstacle course, but this time they're gonna have a bunch of different colors. So that's something to differentiate them from the rest. Alright though, just like with Country Speedway, I'm gonna do this off screen to save you guys some viewing time. I will be right back. Dumblebees? Wow. But yeah, it's looking like I made a good decision to only show off the first race of Mushroom Speedway because that race only took 2 minutes. But the races in Country Speedway and here in Honey Speedway, they were 3 minutes apiece. So I just cut out 6 minutes of pointless footage from this Let's Play between those two. I guess it'll be another 3 minutes when we get to the last Speedway. Oh, probably about 3 or 4 episodes from now. At any rate, though, we need to head back into the obstacle course so we can try and track down old Hunter Boy. He's around here somewhere. I would say that this is one of the more tricky places to track down Hunter. Maybe almost as tricky as Mushroom Speedway. I don't know. Sometimes it can take a minute to find him in Mushroom Speedway, but he's all the way over here, like in the middle.
Look out, Spyro. There's a really big sheep UFO around here, and it's trying to get me. I snatched up a dragon egg it was trying to abduct, and now it wants revenge. You wait here, I'll lure the UFO down the river of honey. Okay, here I go.
Alright, so for this mission, you're running away from a sheep saucer, and you have to jump over obstacles. Every obstacle you hit doesn't damage you, it just slowly slows you down, until eventually the sheep saucer might catch up to you. But thankfully, I find that you have a pretty generous threshold. Like, you can run into a bunch of objects, and likely you will still be in pretty good shape. So, yeah, this mission's exactly the same as it was in the original Year of the Dragon. This goes on for a little bit, but not too long. Slowly but surely, the sheep saucer will slowly reach the honey. And, I mean, yeah, this is probably the easiest mission thus far between all the speedways, honestly. And I seem to recall the next one being a similar amount of difficulty to this.
Ah! Did you see that? Nobody outraces a cheetah. And look, I didn't even drop the egg.
Quick and painless. And let me tell you, that's the way I like it here. Quick and painless, alright? So, yeah, with all that out of the way, we're going to head back to Evening Lake, and we're going to do Lost Fleet next. I know, you thought I was going to do Frozen Altars. That might come later, but we got to do Lost Fleet next for very specific reasons.